Welcome back to Good Day Stateline. Tim Mahoney is with us one more time this year to talk about what I suppose is the biggest TV scandal of 2022, right?
Well, it's certainly the biggest TV scandal going on right now.
Yes.
I mean, I guess Johnny Depp wasn't a TV scandal, but
no,
it was certainly.
we were watching it.
Everybody was watching it. So, we're talking about the two journalists who have now been temporarily suspended because there is the suspicion that they were having an affair.
Yeah, TJ Holmes and Amy Robach they were originally on Good Morning America, but then they really, together are the hosts of GMA3, the afternoon hour.
Right.
And a lot of people, I've realized, didn't even know who they were, and then now they're Googling them all the time, which is pretty funny.
Well, so the first question that we heard was, why are they being suspended at all? Okay, well, anybody that has an employment contract now, and I'm sure many of the people here that have employment contracts, most employment contracts have an ethics clause or a morals clause contained in the employment contract. And it's kind of a catch-all for the employer where it basically says, if you do something that is not in the furtherance of our brand, whatever that is, we can suspend you and we can terminate this contract. So, currently there's a lot of these being implemented for people making anti-Semitic comments that their contracts are being terminated. Nike did this with Lance Armstrong when it came out, the doping scandal came out. They used the morals or ethics clause of their contract in order to suspend their relationship with him. So these clauses are contained in every contract, and that's why they're currently suspended, is because of that clause.
So that's the legal part. Because, a lot of people are like, what did they legally do wrong?
Well, then that's the more interesting topic is it doesn't seem like people really care. So, obviously these shows are about ratings. It's going to be about ratings. In this particular situation, and kind of what we're seeing in entertainment now is things aren't evenly applied. So sometimes if somebody does something like this, people significantly care. And sometimes if they do something like this or what they allegedly did, nobody really cares. So nobody seems to care in this situation, and it could be for a couple of reasons. One reason is they're really journalists more so than hosts.
Sure.
And so one of the distinctions that's being brought up is, well, for journalists, how does it really matter if they were engaged in an extramarital affair or not engaged in an extramarital affair? I mean, I think the real thing is they look so happy together.
Yeah.
I mean, the two of them, right? I mean, the two of them look so stunningly happy together that the crowd is kind of looking at it and going, look, we don't care. These two look like they're really happy. Maybe this was the right decision for the two of them to make. So that's a separate issue from the legal issue. But the legal side of it is this morals clause, and that's why they can suspend them. And right now they're trying to figure out what to do. The public outcry is that of who cares and almost approval, which probably means they're going to be back on the air and they're going to be doing their jobs, would be my guess.
One of the pieces that I guess is missing from this, which would make it a bigger deal, would be if they were not at the same, I don't know necessarily if they're at the exact same level in their business, but one was not somebody else's boss.
Right. Well, engaging in any type of relationship with somebody you work with is always, a no-no and very tricky at best. But certainly, if it's somebody that you're the boss of, I mean, that's off limits these days. That winds you up in a whole series of problems. You're definitely going to violate your employment contract. You're certainly going to violate any of the code of conduct that the business has. If they have an employee handbook, that's guaranteed that's in there. That's automatic termination. And you can certainly open yourself up to a lawsuit too. So the fact that neither one is the boss of the other was a big deal.
It's good for them.
Yeah, that's a very big deal. One of the interesting parts about this that comes up a lot is a contract like this is going to have a mandatory arbitration provision. Okay. Remember, we hear about that. We talked about sports last time. And one of the sports things that you hear about, if somebody gets in a conversation and they're not able to agree on the amount that they want to settle with, then they go to binding arbitration. That's something that everybody should look at if they're signing anything, if there's a binding arbitration clause, because many times that's not something that you necessarily want to do. And, kind of jumping topics, but like if a friend of mine went and bought a car and the car dealership wanted them to sign a binding arbitration clause with regards to any problems with the vehicle. Well, that's not necessarily the best thing for that person, and so he refused to sign them. So if you are looking at an employment contract that has these ethic clauses, which most employment contracts do, you want to make sure that you run them by your lawyer, because these things are heavily negotiated. Ethics clauses, the language of them can be very obscure, very difficult to try to figure out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And if it does have some of that language, a lot of times you maybe don't want to have that binding arbitration provision, so make sure you take a look at that if you're ever in one of these situations.
And so that's why somebody could call you. He'll look at it for you. I mean, you got to pay him. You got to hire him. But he will look at it for you.
Absolutely. We'd be happy to.
All right. Well, Tim, thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I'm sure we'll see you in 2023.
I can't wait. Happy holidays to you and everybody else.
If you have any questions or ideas for what we should talk about with Tim, you can always email us at gds@fox39.com. Coming up next, we're off to Mississippi Station, and then it's game day with Greater Freeport, and they're right there in the Mahoney and Mahoney Blue Room. We'll be right back.